benefits, feed your spirits. The quick mix.
Overnight, when I was streaming, I visited the future. And the future really only had one message for me. It was like, hey, go back to your time and make sure when you get on stream tomorrow, you tell everybody unequivocally that VR will never happen. It'll never happen. I know that y'all keep trying to make it happen, but it never will. So this is my message to you, confidently. And I do have something against PR. No, I love PR. It's VR. That's the problem. The inner hater in me hates when things keep getting chances and funding when they're obviously not going to work. That's the sort of shit I speak out about. AR, I think, is going to be great, Scott. VR, I think, is a shitty technology that will not work biologically, psychologically. Yeah, no, sure. There's some VR applications that are cool. But how giant corporations keep putting enormous trillions of dollars into VR, like it's going to be as ubiquitous as cell phones, it ain't going to work. I've been watching VR get instituted into the consumer technology market for 40 years. It ain't going to work. This is how long we've been trying to get VR to work.
In movies like Lawnmower Man and Ready Player One, pop culture has been infused with ideas of VR. But what has actually become a reality? Well, to find out, we have to travel all the way back to the 1960s with the sensorama.
Holy shit, look at that. Whoa, that looks crazy. Like, you couldn't have the kind of friends I had and then go do something like that. Because it would just be people slapping you in the back of your head and running away. And this thing also looks like it looks like it weighs 6 to 9 tons.
The giant booth didn't actually feature any gaming, but was a visual VR experience.
You would just like watch a movie with your head in a vice. I wonder what the interface was. Did you select a movie with your tongue? Which nasty tongue movie do you want to watch, huh, Charles? Click it with your tongue. In the 60s, they would put Orama after anything. They would just, like, if it was a car, they'd say car Orama. And then that was like the new hot shit. And I feel like once it hit 1969, all the Ramas went away. Bananarama.
First company to take a big
diorama.
Fortunately, the Sega VR never got a mainstream release.
You know why it never got a mainstream release? Because nobody fucking wanted it. Look at that. That's not fucking pleasant. Look at that shit. So you needed 3 friends, a giant empty room that you didn't need to put any furniture in, and $15,000 to $20,000.
While Sega failed to deliver a major release, Nintendo forged ahead with what may be one of their biggest bombs.
You damn right, that shit was awful.
The Nintendo Virtual Boy. The tabletop system pretty much featured everything wrong with VR technology.
Everything about VR technology is wrong.
The top poor
yeah, let me buy this console that makes me sick to my stomach every time I turn it on.
The closest thing to modern-day virtual reality was the VFX-1 headgear. But before Sony's big release, the world of VR was gaining a lot of steam. The Oculus Rift, the VR sensation, was born. The headset raised over $2.5 million through a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, but how many units has it sold?
And the advanced technology quickly reached the consumer market.
It's like VR is a great technology to have in your back pocket if you want to go around to Silicon Valley and convince people to give you money for projects. It seems like all of us here should just go write a VR business plan and take it up to Silicon Valley. And let's all get rich based on wishes we have no desire or real capability to fulfill.
Novelty games like hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades quickly became bestsellers.
Wait a minute. Was you shooting hot dog people? That little hot dog was wearing a suit. That's nasty.
Novelty games like hot dog.
What the fuck? A hot dog in the tie. How you put that tie on? He got no hands. He got no fingers. He don't even have little hot dog fingers like everything, everywhere, all at once. He's just a hot dog. Somebody did that to him. Him or her. I can't tell. There are no hot dog genitals visible. Wow, and it's trying to kill you? Yeah, I guess I'd be trying to kill something too. If something took my arms and legs and genitals away and put me in a little suit.
No one may have been more impressed than Facebook owner Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook purchased the...
This shit makes me like really mad at him. He's like, Mark Zuckerberg is not, he's clearly not a stupid person because he got rich off of a really good idea and innovating it and figuring out how to sell it to businesses and make money in all these ways that we couldn't even figure out until like 10 years after it was already happening. But why would a smart person stake the entire future of their $1 trillion corporation on technology that has from this video, a 60-year documented history of not working. What was it that he saw that made him think that his people were going to finally get that right? It's confusing and fucking maddening.
The Oculus company for $2 billion, and the tech was now off and running. And then the VR trend was born.
Is it a trend, though? Is it really? I think I know like one dude with a PS VR that he never used.
Sony integrated the VR with current PlayStation technology to really improve the experience.
Okay, that is another great use for VR. The first use we came up with was grifting people in Silicon Valley. So everybody write a business plan about VR, take it to Silicon Valley, and let's start this crazy subversive wealth distribution where they all just give us money to make companies. And then we can just go for bankruptcy as soon as the creditors try to come. The second good use for VR, and this is shout out to Okayish. She says the only people she knows who have VR are folks worried about impressing others with the shit they have. So the second good use of it is just letting people know you can afford shit. Just put it's a thing to put in your house to let people know that whatever the newest quote unquote hottest piece of media or consumer technology that is available, you can afford. So that's two uses.
Take Beat Saber, for example. Players wield a lightsaber in each hand.
This is the only one I ever wanted to try because I've been told that it's good exercise.
Google released the Cardboard VR app. The headset was literally made out of cardboard.
You know what's really good for cardboard? Human sweat. It makes cardboard last forever and always smell great. You should always put cardboard really close to your face and do a lot of wild physical activity because it's great for the cardboard and great for your face.
And as VR advances, so does the mixture with augmented reality. A VR experience which pulls the Windows operating system out of the monitor and into the real world.
That shit look cool. That shit look like Minority Report. Look out, criminals. Everybody on the Citizen app is going to have a home crime center with windows they can move around. Catch your ass digging through their trash.
Teams work together to go on missions, and virtual avatars allow you to easily see other players.
But you could also, just play bumper cars. That could also be fun. Like, is it that much more fun to make it look like you're playing bumper cars on the moon? Is that a fun multiplier for bumper cars? Is that you're on a different planet?
Roller coasters at parks like Legoland and Six Flags have implemented VR.
Okay, that looks kind of fun. It also looks fucking terrifying. I also, especially since me and my lady, she just got me watching Game of Thrones. I get freaked out now instantly whenever somebody puts fake eyes over real eyes, because whenever they do that shit in Game of Thrones, it like makes me want to jump up and fight the TV. Now, that's just one thing. The other thing, like amusement parks. So I guess you sit in this contraption, it doesn't really go anywhere, but you have the headsets on. See that? Okay, so this is my real problem with VR. We're getting into it now. VR assumes that giving us visual information that doesn't match where our physical body actually is somehow fun. And to me, that's the big difference between VR and AR. Like VR, it attempts to completely cut you off from your own physical surrounding in order to have this virtual experience, which I feel like is probably deeply confusing and frustrating for our nervous systems, which have developed over hundreds of thousands of years to be very attuned with what's going on around us. Like that's what these senses have been developed for. So a company can tell you, hey, it'll be fun for you to be seeing something very different than where your body actually is. But I don't think that's the actual case for our brains. Like I think about if I was in a room with a VR helmet and there's other people in the room who aren't on the VR helmet, there's some part of my brain that's going to have this constant anxiety of like, what the fuck could be happening in my body when I can't even see what the fuck is going on because I'm seeing this other world. And so I'm looking at a contraption like this, and all I can think is, I would get really fucking sick. I would get really aggressively sick between the confusion of this actual physical jostling and my mind trying to make sense of the difference between what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing. To me, it all sounds like a bad idea and not something that a corporation would want to invest billions and billions of dollars.
I contemplate true that and scribbles traffic jam on a unicycle with two flats.
The morning show.
For breakfast, feed your spirits. The quick mix melts a quick.